Bishop Lamor Whitehead held a press conference today to discuss the arrest of 2 of the 3 people suspected of robbing his church while live streaming a couple of months ago. What did he say, and what questions were asked of him?
How are you? Good afternoon, good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon.
Bishop, your thoughts? We saw Mr. Paula staring you down as you walked into the courtroom.
Yeah. Well, let me just first give my address, and I'll answer whatever questions that I can answer. First, I want to thank the NYPD and the ATF for doing an impeccable job. At this time, 2 out of the 3 suspects were captured today. I received a phone call this morning around 6:30 in the morning, waking me up and stating that they have caught 2 of the 3 suspects. First, I really want to thank God. This has been a trying time for me and my family. It's been really nerve-wracking. The media plastered my address throughout online, and what you guys didn't know that I couldn't really talk about, there was an attempt home invasion at my home, and they tried to steal my cars from out of my driveway because my address was plastered around. This is a win today because the narrative that was posted and presented that I had something to do with this robbery, and it has destroyed my life. This was turned around from me being a victim to a villain, and today, God gave me and my family the victory, and they were able to catch these 2 young men, and there's another one at large, and I'm hoping that they cooperate with the federal prosecutors. This is a federal case, and I'm hoping that they cooperate with the federal prosecutors. I'm hoping that they get that we get justice. One of the young men was released on bail, and I respect whatever the prosecutor and the judge and whoever was a part of that deal, and I trust in this justice system. But, however, my family and my church have been very traumatized, and they have changed me to look like a person on the street instead of a man of the cloth and clergy. Not only am I a bishop, but I also have my PhD in theology and business. So I am also a doctor. I'm a smart, well-rounded young black man. I'm hoping that this clears a lot of things up with my name, as far as, the world believing that I'm a villain instead of a victim, and it hurts. I thank God for my attorney who walked with me every step of the way, Don Florio, and my civil attorney who could not be here today because of what happened. It was too fast. His name is Brian Ponder. And I'm just thankful for the greatest church on earth, Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being out here. So I'll take questions now.
Bishop, how does this play your Mr. Paula?
Say that one more time.
Your thoughts on Mr. Paula staring you down as you walked into that courtroom?
Well, I'm glad you were there, and I'm glad you were able to see the villain that he is, right? And I'm glad you were there to see the hate and to see the viciousness that he had in his eyes for me, and how he stared me down to try to intimidate me. But I'm not going to be intimidated. And I'm glad you were there to see that I'm a victim. And once again, he tried to intimidate me. A preacher, a young man that was illegally convicted, a young man whose father was beat and strangled to death by 16 police officers because of the color of his skin, Arthur Miller, in 1978. A young man that had to grow up without a father. And I'm glad you were there. I'm glad Pix 11 was there to witness, because you guys might not have believed me. You haven't believed me with anything else. So I thank you, sir, for being there and seeing the intimidation. And I forgive him. I forgive him. The Bible says in Matthew 6:14-15, it says, if God forgives us our trespasses, then we have to forgive others their trespasses. My family to be here and not be dead on July 24th.
How does this clear your name? You said this clears your name. How does it clear your name?
Because the tabloids and everybody has been talking about the narrative of the bling bling bishop and the bling bling pastor, and he had to have something to do with it. Why is it taking so long for him to be, for the criminals to be caught? Well, the reason why it was taking long, because it changed from a state to a federal case, and they were doing what they had to do. I'm not a police officer, nor am I a federal agent, but I cooperated with the agent every time they called me, and they will tell you that. Every time they called me, any pictures and anything that they needed, they were able to get it from me without any delay. So the media and social medias and the bloggers have changed me to a villain instead of a victim. So that's what I'm talking about. My career in real estate has tumbled because of the tabloids speaking to the sense of me being the villain and me having something to do with it. And nobody wanted to do anything with me. None of the politicians called me to check on me anymore. Nobody called me anymore. So it was just me and my family and my church family. So that's what cleared me.
The chief of detective said today, basically, that the reason this happened, their motive, is that these men saw you flashy. They knew where your church was. So, I mean, you spoke to that, but what do you make of that?
Well, that was an assumption. I watched it. And it was an assumption, and it's still further investigation. So, he's assuming there's a lot of different things that's up in the air. There's a lot of things that's in the air. It's a heavy investigation where there's tons of different units that's a part of this investigation. So, I think that I should be able to wear what I want to wear. I think I should be able to dress the way I want to dress. When you look at the Pope, his robes are nearly $50,000, but there is no talk about that at all, But me as an African-American young man, I'm ridiculed. I'm called different names. So I believe that was just an assumption and their opinion at now.
Did you know the suspects?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
The two past months have been like real life.
Hell. It's been hell. My family just came back home. I've been paying for them to stay in a hotel. My daughter, my kids still can't sleep at all. They can't sleep. The trauma, I've never understood the trauma of this type of robbery. You watch these things on TV, but until you actually are a part of it, you never understand. This is trauma. I'm talking about my members call me crying. If not every day, every other day. My daughter crying and scared. Every slam of a car door. She turns around, she's startled. So this has been hell. And then to not be believed. To not be believed and to be ridiculed on the way I dress. And, it's just, I thought I was a victim. But I just turned into a villain, and it's hell. To answer your question.
Bishop, have you ever
seen Bishop,
did you in any way before the robbery know these two men?
Did you ever see them before?
I've never seen them before a day in my life, and this was groundbreaking for me because when you haven't seen them, you don't know what they look like, And I couldn't wait. This morning I was up for 5 a.m. prayer because we're on 5 a.m. prayer for the last year, 7 days a week. And I was up for 5 a.m. prayer. And when I dozed back off, then I got this phone call and I couldn't go back to sleep. I was so anxious to see what these gentlemen looked like because I've never seen them before. I didn't know their names. So when I seen her today, I never saw her before, you know, and then I started to say, wow, you know, why would these young men do this to me? Why would these young men do this to me? You know, we always talk about racism. We always talk about other ethnicities coming against the black community. But these are my own brothers. So what is our excuse now? What is our excuse now?
What are your thoughts on the late disclosure that they're in plea discussions?
Well, like I said, I'm leaving that up to the prosecutor, and I know that the judge said that they were giving them a window for plea discussions. So I don't know if they're already having plea discussions, but what I do, yeah, that's in every case, as my attorney just said. That's in every case. So I don't think that I don't know if they're in plea discussions, but I know that the next date for court, which I will be here, is October 28th, and I will be here, and I'm going to monitor this and whatever they need from me, you know, and I'm hoping and praying that these young men speak, because there's no, I don't know, but I feel that there's more to the story. I feel that there's more people to this, and I feel that, you know, because for you to have the courage to walk inside of a house of worship, it has to be something else to this. So I'm hoping that they will cooperate with the police department, the ATF, and the NYPD, and anything that's hidden, I'm hoping that it's uncovered. Any names that have been a part of this crime, I'm hoping that the no snitching rule is out the window, and I'm hoping, because at the end of the day, they pull a gun not only on me to the back of my head, but my wife and my 8-month-old daughter. And I do have video that I will be showing later on this week or maybe next week. But I did not put it up there, but you guys will be able to see the inside of everything that happened, and you know, because I think the people in the world needs to see the traumatization of my church and how all of them had to. It's like a wave. They just all flew on the floor, and they were all on top of each other,
Bishop also talked about his illegal conviction, his right to wear expensive clothes, how the media is not interested in covering his good deeds, how politicians and the public abandon him, and so on. The full conference can be found all over the internet if you want to hear the whole thing. And I do say I am happy that this has happened for the bishop, and I just pray that everything is revealed in the court case. Thank you. Bloopers. So at Bishop Whitehead, one of the reporters asked Bishop how he felt. Wait, notification, excuse me.